Hi, Tim Roy. We're here at the fabulous Turtle Bay Resort on the island of Oahu and the great state of Hawaii. I'm talking to one of the newest Warriors, that's Kyle Anderson. And I guess if, training camp's training camp, I guess if you have to have one, this isn't a bad spot.
Yeah, it's not too bad. I have zero complaints about the location, and we've had 2 great practices so far, so nothing on my plate.
Are you a water guy at all?
Yeah. I grew up going to the beaches and on the Jersey Shore, and I'm going to the beach right after this.
All right, outstanding. Tell me about coming to the Warriors and what attracted you to this situation.
Well, obviously, all the success they've had in the past, and when it came to me this summer, I obviously thought about my family first. Like, I'm a New Jersey kid. I'm like, this be going 6 hours away again. It's gonna be tough for us. But when it came to the basketball aspect of it, it was almost a no-brainer. They've had a lot of high IQ guys in the past, and I think their offense and what they do on both ends, you got to be able to use your brain and be smart and communicate and things like that. They've just always done things the right way. So for the basketball aspect, it was a no-brainer.
How much are you looking for the opportunity to play with as opposed to playing against Stephen Curry and Draymond Green?
Yeah, it's going to be an awesome opportunity, to take the floor with those guys. They've just done it the right way the past 9 years. Even in their losses, they win and lose the same way. Just from the outside looking in, it looks pretty fun to be a part of.
Your experience, though, you were drafted by San Antonio. At the time, they had Tim Duncan, they had Ginobili, they had Parker. Is that going to help you being around, 2 other high-profile type of guys?
I think it does. I'm very blessed to have went to San Antonio my first 4 years just to be around a championship atmosphere, championship players. I was never fortunate enough to win one, but just see how they prepare, see how they handle success, losses, things like that. And, just from my time here already, I feel like it's very similar to my time in San Antonio.
What do you think you can learn from playing with Draymond? He did say you're a 5 now.
Yeah. Just his intensity, how he brings it every night. I think that's something that, I can, add to my game is, playing with high level intensity every night on both ends. He communicates on the floor. He directs guys in traffic. So, that's something I'm just going to watch and pick his brain on and, things like that.
You're a Jersey guy. You mentioned that. You went to high school at the very famous but now closed St. Anthony's. You played for the legendary coach Bob Hurley Sr. What was a Bob Hurley Sr. practice like?
Let's just say I'm happy they're over with. They were tough, man. Speaking of playing hard every night, that's someone who introduced me to that. And that wasn't until I was 16 years old. I was one of the best juniors in the country. And the main thing Coach Hurley taught me and with his practices is you have to be able to play hard every day. And he didn't think I did it at the time. So that's something that he brought to my game is playing hard every time I step on the floor, playing hard in practice. In his practices, there's nothing. You have no choice but to be intense, or it's going to turn out bad for you. So they were tough, but they prepared me for everything that I've had to encounter and for the rest of my career.
Yeah. Do you find yourself going back to maybe some things he said or some things he taught you as opposed to just playing hard?
Oh yeah, like I don't walk anywhere in practice. Like change of drills, change of station, going to get water. Like you have to run everywhere with Coach Hurley. You just have to be intense. You have to be ready to go. I think people seen that with Danny Hurley at UConn, the way he runs his program, and I think his dad was a lot more intense than Danny. But Danny's pretty intense as well. They both do a great job of getting the best out of their players.
So, like signing with the Warriors, when you went to make your college decision, you end up going to the West Coast. You go to UCLA. What made that 3,000-mile journey worth it?
Yeah. This was more of I'm the youngest of 5, so I've always felt I've been babied in my life for the first 15, 16, 17 years. Probably my brothers and sisters will tell you I still get babied, but I had established myself on the East Coast, and I wanted to go out to the West Coast to make a name for myself and, kind of like take on the challenge of being on my own. Like, this sounds silly, but like washing my own clothes, living on my own, having to figure it out on my own. I've always had older brothers and sisters I can call to bail me out of situations. So really just wanted to kind of, figure things out on my own. I knew I'd be a pro. So, just enjoy that before I get to it.
You guys won a Pac-12 tournament title there. Mm-hmm. You got to the Sweet 16. You were a third-team All-America. But the one that really, really impressed me was you were the first Bruin since Bill Walton to go 10 points, 5 boards, 5 assists in a season. That's pretty good company.
Man, that's big time. I mean, given all the great players that have came through that UCLA program, I said it at Media Day, like, I didn't even know who Tracy Murray is at my time at UCLA. Like, there are just so many great players that you don't really hear of, or I didn't hear of being an East Coast kid that, I learned about my time there. So to be, in a category with Bill Walton, who is tremendous, all the highlights I've seen of him in games I watched of him, that's pretty big time. That means a lot to me. When
you were out there, and maybe even today, do you go to those legendary summertime pickup games in the old gym there?
It's funny. Like, it's like every time I'm out there, I'm either not healthy or, Rico hasn't started the runs yet. Like, I spend a lot of July.
The great Rico Hines, by the way, a former Warrior assistant coach.
Yes. So I did it in high school. My first my junior and senior year, I would be out there all the time, and I'd play it in the runs then, but never as a pro, as shocking as it sounds.
That's funny. It's interesting. I have to ask you this because I was since I've been out west since '89. I've been a huge fan of the conference. What do you feel that now you're representing a Big Ten team?
Yeah, it's tough, man. It's tough. I'm sad about that. Like, the Pac-12 was such a great conference. Like even in football season, you can catch a Arizona Cal slugger at 10:30 at night on the East Coast. Like, I'm really gonna miss the Pac-12, or watching UCLA USC at 10:30 at night on the East Coast. Like, that was awesome. I love the Pac-12. I'm pretty sad that it's gone. So both my high schools and the Pac-12 are gone. Like, my history is being erased.
Oh my! Well, let's hope you make some more history here.
Right.
Speaking of history, I was interested to find out that you have an interesting heritage, that on your mom's side, you're both Chinese and Jamaican. Mm-hmm. That's a unique combination.
Yeah, it is. But if you look back on the history of it, how a lot of people from India and China were migrating to Jamaica in the early 1900s. I think my grandfather around 1918 or 1921, around then. They were moving to work in Jamaica at that time, and then they would start families. And, I know a few people of Indian and Jamaican heritage, and then finally meeting more people of Chinese Jamaican heritage. It's pretty cool once you do the homework and the research on it. And my grandmother was born in Jamaica. However, her dad was born in China and left China to come work in Jamaica and started a family there. And, there's my grandmother.
Did I hear right? You went back to China to look up some of your family roots?
Yeah. My mother did a lot of homework, a lot of countless hours on the internet, and finding her heritage, and was able to reach out to a police department in Shenzhen, China, where my family's village is still to this day. We were able to go visit in 2018, and they welcomed us with open arms. It was one of the most beautiful things I've ever been a part of.
Yeah, the Warriors had a preseason game there years ago.
Yeah. I know. I'm a little too late.
Did you get over to Hong Kong?
Yes.
Oh, isn't that spectacular?
Yes, love Hong Kong. Yes, it was awesome.
That's a beautiful place if you ever get a chance to go and visit. Other than basketball, what sort of things occupy you when you're away from the floor?
My son right now. I have 2 dogs, 2 German Shepherds, Steely and Nino. They kind of took up a lot of my time, but once my son came, he's the best. He's 4 years old. This is such a fun age to where, we can go in the backyard and have a lot of fun, or he loves coming on walks with me and the dogs. So, he takes up a lot of my time.
That's great. That's the best thing going.
Yeah.
It's funny. Do you think fatherhood has changed you?
For sure. I think, I hold the city of Memphis so near and dear to my heart because, I went there a 24-year-old young adult, but I had my son there and left there a man. He's just brought out the best of me on the court, off the court. It's pretty remarkable.
So here in Turtle Bay, where of course the Warriors are in the middle of training camp, I've been watching you work out a little bit. It looks to me like you've worked on your shot. It's a little bit different approach. Tell me about that, and why do you think you want to do that at this point?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, to be on the floor in this league, you got to be able to make open shots. You don't have to necessarily be a knockdown shooter, but you have to be able to hit the open ones. I think not the season that just passed, but 2 years ago, I shot the ball at 40%, not on a high clip at all. Maybe one or two attempts a game, but I was knocking down the open ones. And last summer, I've said this a lot. I didn't have the time to prepare and work on my game due to an injury. That just goes with the territory of being an NBA player. This summer, I wanted to get back to covering the bases, being able to knock down shots when I'm open and putting the work in. And I spent a lot of summer around the basket shooting, and then moved out from there, and a lot of shooting while I'm tired in my workouts, and that's just what I love to do, is work on my game and try to get better. I want to stay in this league as long as I can, and I just love the game of basketball, so that's a no-brainer. I'm going to work in the summertime.
Your nickname is Slow-Mo. How did you get that nickname?
Yeah, I always say, it's two. It kind of happened from two different places at the same time. The first time I was 11 and we went down to nationals, and we played this Texas team who was really good. And after, they were like, "Oh, you're so slow, but you're so good. We're going to call you Slow-Mo." So that stuck with me. And then there's a league in Queens, New York, around where JK grew up, called IS8. And the announcer's name is Pete Edwards. He runs the league, and he gave me that nickname, and that was kind of, born in the New York City area. So, it kind of came together, and that's just what everybody knows me as now.
Well, when I first got to the Warriors, we had another kid from Queens who wore 17. He was not very quick to the basket, but he's in the Hall of Fame. That's Chris Mullen.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so that's there's nothing wrong with that nickname.
Right.
And Chris would take his sweet time getting to the rim, but he would get there.
Man, yeah, he was really good. He was really good.
Who were your basketball heroes growing up?
My basketball heroes, obviously my dad. He was a high school coach my whole life, until I was about 14 years old or 13 years old. So I was always in the gym, and he the way he sees the game, plays a big part on my high IQ. He's taught me a lot with it. And my older cousin, he played at NJIT. And, I was his little cousin. I just looked up to him and thought the world of him. And, he kind of introduced me to Allen Iverson and watching the NBA. And so those two kind of, really, sparked the plug with, my basketball career. And obviously I have two older brothers who also played a huge part in, helping me get to where I am today.
When you see your success, how much of that do you get to share with them?
Yeah, a lot. They tell me all the time that they live vicariously through me. So, it means a lot to me every time I step out on the floor. And, one of my favorite basketball moments is I hit a big shot in Dykeman for the game to be over. It was a game winner. And my brothers came onto the court and, dapped me up and gave me a hug. And, that was like top 3 favorite basketball moments for me of all time. It's like the park was killing me. Like, they were making fun of me. They were yelling. I wasn't playing well in the first half. They're heckling me. You know how New York City is. And I hit the shot to send them home, and they came out in the court, and that's one of my favorite moments in my career.
Let's talk about the Warriors for a second. You've been with a lot of good teams. In fact, you've played against the Warriors 3 times in the playoffs. So you know what a good team looks like. What do you see with this team, and what kind of a ceiling do you give it?
Yeah, obviously we have Steph, so that always puts us in a good position to win games. But I see a lot of depth on our team. It's like before seasons you could kind of gauge what the rotation would be, but who knows what it would be. You got a lot of good players here at camp, so I know that's bringing out the best of me to compete for minutes. I know everybody else has the same mindset, but whatever Coach Kerr comes up with at the end, we're obviously playing for each other. We have a lot of depth on our team, so a lot of confidence in whoever Coach Kerr rolls with.
Have you talked to Steve about what he expects from you?
A little bit. I'm sure we'll get into it more as we get closer to first game. But he's gave me a brief rundown on what he expects, and it's not anything that I can't do or that he knows I can't do. I think he knows. I think they all know what they got when they brought me in.
Well, I think we do, which is a really good basketball player. Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for your time, mm-hmm. and I know that it's been a big portion of your time because your beloved New York York Mets are playing in a playoff game. So
Yes.
I really appreciate it. I know it was a great effort, and welcome to the Golden State Warriors.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here. Thank you.